The chamber of the Galactic Council was the most respected place in the galaxy. It was built inside a massive ring-shaped station, orbiting a blue star. The ceiling stretched so high that even the largest species in the galaxy could stand without, feeling small. The walls were lined with glowing crystal panels that shimmered with soft light, making the entire hall look like it was carved from starlight itself. For centuries, this was the place where the most powerful decisions of the galaxy were made. Hundreds of delegates sat in their assigned seats representing their people, their fleets, and their resources. Some of them had claws, others had wings, while some shimmered like liquid metal. They were all different, yet all of them shared one belief. The council was the heart of order, and their rule would last forever. On the far edge of the chamber, in the smallest section, sat the humans. Their seat was small, almost hidden, as if it were placed there only out of politeness. To most species, humans were newcomers. They had joined interstellar travel just a few generations ago. They had no great fleets, no ancient empires, and no technology that could impress the old civilizations. They were considered weak and irrelevant, a species that was too young to matter. But today, a human delegate stood up. His name was Marcus Hale. He was not old, not decorated, and not surrounded by guards like the other ambassadors. He stood alone, wearing a simple dark uniform with the Earth emblem across his chest. His voice was calm but steady as it echoed through the chamber. "Members of the Council," Marcus began, "we bring a warning. The galaxy is not as safe as you think. Dangers grow in the dark. Humanity has prepared for them, but we cannot do this alone. We ask the Council to strengthen its defenses and treat Earth as a true member, not a shadow." The chamber fell silent for a moment. A few delegates exchanged glances. Then, the laughter began. The ambassador of the Thalri, a tall insectoid with glittering wings, clicked his mandibles in amusement. "Humans speaking of dangers," he said, his voice sharp. "Your fleets are barely more than shuttles. You ask us to listen as if you have seen more than we have? How charming." A representative from the Koro Dominion, a species with scales that shone like gold, leaned forward. "You have not lived through the great wars. You have not fought the ancient machines that almost destroyed us all. And you think you see threats where we see peace? Perhaps your kind is simply too afraid of shadows." Marcus did not raise his voice. He stood firm. "You think us weak because we are young, but humanity has survived every hardship on Earth. We grew stronger from every storm. You may think we are small, but we are not powerless. Do not underestimate us." The words echoed, but the council did not take them seriously. The chamber filled with murmurs, laughter, and dismissive comments. The official record labeled his speech as dramatic speculation. For the council, it was nothing but noise. Marcus returned to his seat, his expression calm but his eyes burning. He knew what the council thought of him, of his people. To them, humanity was a child shouting in the middle of giants. But he also knew something else. Humanity's strength was hidden, waiting. The galaxy believed it was a bluff. They would learn the truth one day. Outside the chamber, far from the eyes of the other species, the human envoys gathered. Their leader, Admiral Kira Darnell, spoke in a low voice. "They laughed again, didn't they?" Marcus nodded. "They see us as nothing. Good," the Admiral replied. Her face was stern, her eyes sharp like steel. "Let them laugh. Let them think we are harmless. That gives us time. Time to build, time to prepare." The other envoys looked at her with silent agreement. Humanity had been patient for years. They had sent representatives, joined meetings, and followed the rules. But every time they were treated as guests, not equals. Every time they spoke, they were ignored. The patience of humanity was running thin, but their preparation was just beginning. Back on Earth, things were very different from the image shown at the council. Cities stretched higher, ships launched daily from orbital docks, and secret factories produced technology no alien had ever seen. The people of Earth remembered the words of their leaders. "They underestimate us. That is our greatest weapon." Human scientists worked on energy systems that did not exist in Council databases. Engineers built engines that could outrun the fastest alien ships. Military officers trained fleets in silence away from alien eyes. Every test, every project, every secret was hidden behind layers of misdirection. To the Council, Earth was a weak world crying for attention. In truth, Earth was a storm waiting to break. But inside the Council chamber, none of this was visible. The alien delegates moved on to their next topic: trade between the core systems. To them, the humans had spoken and been dismissed. The matter was finished. "Perhaps next time," said the insectoid Thalry ambassador with a laugh, "the humans will bring a story about monsters under their beds. It would be just as entertaining." Others chuckled. The record of human warnings was stored, forgotten among thousands of speeches. They believed the galaxy was at peace. They believed nothing could disturb the order they had built. And they believed humans were just talkers, not doers. But far from their shining station in the silent reaches of space, human fleets trained in secret. Their weapons glowed in the dark, untested yet powerful. Their strategies were sharp, forged from centuries of Earth struggles. Humanity was no longer begging for respect. Humanity was waiting, and one day, the galaxy would learn that the warning had not been a bluff. It had been a promise. The Galactic Council chamber sparkled with the light of thousands of stars projected above its center. It was a symbol of order and power, but to humans, it had always felt like a stage where they were made into a joke. After Marcus Hale's warning speech, the echoes of laughter still lingered in the halls. The Council had moved on to other debates as if nothing important had been said. News of the human speech spread quickly through the galaxy. Alien channels carried reports, often mocking in tone. On the hollow screens of countless worlds, Marcus's words were replayed again and again, not as a warning but as comedy. "The humans claim they see shadows," said one Thalry newscaster, his mandibles clacking in amusement. "Perhaps their eyes are too weak for starlight." On another channel, a Coro Dominion speaker shook her golden-scaled head. "They say they are not powerless," she told her viewers. "But where are their fleets? Where are their victories? They speak like giants, but they are still children, playing in the dark." The laughter spread across systems. For most of the galaxy, humanity's warning became nothing more than a story told with amusement. In markets, vendors joked that a human ship was the safest place to hide during battle, because no one would ever target them. In academies, students laughed when teachers asked them to name the youngest and weakest member of the Council. On the raw, answer was always Earth. But while the galaxy laughed, humans listened, and they remembered. On Earth, the mood was very different. Inside a fortified base beneath the Rocky Mountains, leaders gathered around a massive table of glowing screens. Admiral Kira Darnell sat at the head, her hands folded calmly, though her eyes revealed her fire. "They mock us across the galaxy," she said. "Good, let them. It blinds them." General Ravi Singh, commander of the orbital fleets, leaned forward. "Their laughter gives us cover. While they tell jokes, we continue to build. Our carriers are nearly complete. Our destroyers are training. Daily." The Council has no idea. A scientist named Dr. Elena Morozova nodded. She controlled the Hidden Research Division. "They think we are weak. That is their greatest mistake. Our energy project is moving ahead faster than expected. The prototypes are stable. Once deployed, our weapons will make theirs look ancient." Marcus Hale, still fresh from the Council chamber, clenched his fists. "I told them, I warned them, and they laughed in my face. They believe we are bluffing." "And that belief," Admiral Darnell said firmly, "is the shield we will use to prepare. The day will come when they see the truth. But until then, we remain shadows." Far across the galaxy, the Council continued its games. In one grand meeting, the ambassadors of the oldest species gathered over drinks of shimmering liquid that floated in the air. Their voices were light, filled with pride. The insectoid ambassador of the Thalry clicked his wings. "Did you hear the humans again? They warn us of dangers, yet they cannot even defend a single system without help." The scaled ambassador, of the Coro Dominion hissed softly in amusement. It is almost sweet, is it not? They believe their little words matter here, but they do not understand. This galaxy was forged in wars long before they built their first ships. We are the guardians. They are only guests. A delegate of the Velan, a species of glowing, jelly-like beings, pulsed with light as it added, "Perhaps we should give them a title, Council of Shadows. That is all they are, shadows on the edge." The laughter spread, but none of them realized that while they mocked, humanity was listening. Hidden human devices recorded everything, quietly transmitting it back to Earth. Every insult, every dismissal, every laugh was remembered. In secret training grounds orbiting Mars, fleets of human pilots practiced in silence. Rows of sleek ships launched into the void, their engines glowing bright. They were not the old fragile ships once shown to the Council. These were new designs, fast, precise, and deadly. "Target lock complete," called one pilot. "Break. Formation, evade, strike again," ordered the commander. Dozens of ships moved like a single blade, cutting through the stars. They practiced ambushes, quick strikes, and coordinated maneuvers. No other fleet in the galaxy trained like them, because no other fleet had been ignored so completely. Humanity had no choice but to be clever, fast, and ruthless. Every exercise was recorded, studied, and repeated until perfection. Mistakes were not punished, they were fixed. Weakness was not hidden, it was reforged into strength. But the Council saw none of this. To them, Earth was still a small blue planet with hopeful people and loud voices. They believed humans had no secrets worth fearing. One day, during a council meeting about resource distribution, the representative from Earth requested fairer trade rights. The answer was immediate rejection. "You want more supplies?" asked the scaled Coro ambassador, her golden eyes flashing. "Then perhaps you should grow them on your little world. The Council is not here to feed weaklings," the insectoid delegate added with a hiss. "Perhaps they think food will make them strong enough to face the shadows they fear." The chamber filled with chuckles. Human requests were treated as comedy, not diplomacy. Marcus Hale sat silent, recording every word in his mind. He did not rise this time. He did not argue. He only watched, and he remembered. Back on Earth, people noticed the treatment too. News channels replayed the alien insults. Some citizens were angry, demanding action. Others were patient, trusting their leaders to play the long game. But all agreed on one thing. Humanity was tired of being treated as a joke. In schools, children learned not only science and art, but also strategy and survival. Teachers reminded them of history, how humans had once been underestimated on their own world, how they had overcome every empire, every storm. "They laughed at us before," one teacher told her class, "but we endured, and we will endure again." In factories, workers built ships day and night, never asking why, because they already knew. The galaxy thought humans were weak. But every ship completed was proof that the galaxy was wrong. Meanwhile, Admiral Darnell stood on the bridge of a massive construction dock above Earth. Before her floated a warship unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. Its hull was dark, its engines powerful, and its weapons hidden within armored layers. "Soon," she whispered to herself. "Soon the Council will see." General Singh joined her, his gaze steady. "Do you think they suspect?" "Not at all," Darnell replied. "They are too busy laughing, and their laughter blinds them more than any weapon could." But not everyone in the galaxy mocked. A few alien observers noticed strange patterns. A trader from the rim worlds reported seeing unusual human ships moving through quiet sectors. A scientist from the Velan noted strange energy readings near Mars. These reports reached the Council, but they were ignored. "Humans with advanced ships?" scoffed the Coro delegate. "Impossible. They can barely manage trade freighters." "Energy readings," hissed the Thalri ambassador. "Likely errors from poor human machines." The Council dismissed it all. To them, humanity remained what it had always been, a species of dreamers too young to matter. But in secret, the dream was becoming reality. Humanity was no longer asking for respect. They were preparing to take it. The laughter of the galaxy continued, but for humans it became fuel. Every insult was a spark. Every rejection was a hammer strike. Every joke was another reason to sharpen their hidden blade. The Council thought humanity was bluffing. They believed Earth's warnings were only words. But in the silence of space, the truth was being forged, and when the moment came, the galaxy would discover that the joke had always been on them. The stars outside the Galactic Council station burned bright and calm, but inside the chamber words were sharp. The meeting began with the usual talk of trade routes, taxation, and border patrols. Then the subject of Earth arose. The Coro Dominions. Golden-scaled ambassador stood tall, her voice ringing across the hall. The humans demand too much. They ask for equal trade, yet they contribute almost nothing. Their worlds are poor, their fleets are small, and their resources are limited. Why should the galaxy carry them? The insectoid Thalary delegate clicked his wings in agreement. They think themselves clever. They talk of danger, of shadows, of strength. But they give nothing. Let us place limits. Enough of their requests. The chamber filled with nods of approval. A vote was called. Within minutes, the Council passed a new rule. A trade blockade against Earth. From that day forward, no Council member was allowed to send large shipments of resources to human colonies. Energy crystals, medical supplies, and rare metals, all were restricted. Earth would have to survive on scraps. To the Council, it was a simple punishment, a reminder of who held the power. To humanity, it was a spark thrown into dry grass. On Earth, the effects were felt quickly. Colonies on Mars and Luna reported shortages. Medical stations ran low on rare compounds needed for advanced treatments. Factories slowed down, struggling to replace missing parts. Families felt the pressure. In the streets of New York, London, and New Delhi, people gathered in protest. They carried banners that read, "Respect humanity and we will not be silent." Voices rose in anger against the Council's decision. Yet inside secret bases, leaders did not panic. They had expected this. Admiral Kira Darnell gathered her officers in the underground command center. The glowing map of the galaxy floated above the table, showing red lines where the blockade had been declared. "They think this will break us," Darnell said, her tone calm and steady. "But they only push us closer to the path we are already walking." General Ravi Singh nodded. "The colonies will suffer, yes, but our hidden stockpiles are strong. The blockade hurts our people, but not our preparations." Dr. Elena Morozova added, "The blockade may even help. It will force us to rely only on our own systems. No more dependence, only self-reliance, only strength." Marcus Hale, who had returned from the Council chamber with bitterness in his heart, clenched his fists. "They mocked us. Now they starve us. How much longer must we wait before showing them who we are?" Admiral Darnell's eyes narrowed. "Not yet, but soon. Their arrogance blinds them. Every insult, every restriction, every blockade brings us closer to the moment. When the moment comes, there will be no doubt. Humanity will no longer be seen as weak." Meanwhile, in the heart of the Council, the ambassadors laughed over their decision. "They will protest, of course," said the Thalary delegate, his mandibles clattering. "Humans always shout loudly, but shouting does not build fleets. It does not make them strong." The Coro Dominion's ambassador let out a hiss of amusement. "Perhaps they will beg. Perhaps they will crawl. That is all they can do." The glowing Velan delegate pulsed with faint light. "They call themselves survivors, but they have never faced the fire of true galactic war. They will bend. They will learn their place." The chamber filled with smug satisfaction. To them, the matter was closed, but in hidden shipyards far from prying eyes, the blockade became the final reason for silence to end. On Mars, factories doubled their output. Ships rolled off the docks one after another, sleek destroyers, agile fighters, and massive carriers. Their black hulls were painted without symbols, hiding their true numbers. On the moon, engineers tested powerful engines that could bend space in ways no Council ship had ever managed. The ships leapt across test zones, appearing and vanishing, like ghosts. In orbit above Earth, secret platforms were armed with weapons so advanced that even human scientists whispered about their power. Energy lances capable of cutting through armored ships in seconds glowed faintly in the dark, and still, the galaxy knew nothing. One evening, Admiral Darnell stood on the observation deck of a secret facility. Beyond the glass, dozens of ships floated in formation, their lights blinking softly. The sight filled her with both pride and resolve. "We are ready," she whispered. General Singh stepped beside her. "The people grow restless. The blockade hurts them. They must endure." "A little longer," Darnell replied. "When the time comes, we will strike not with words but with strength. And when we strike, the galaxy will remember forever." Back on Earth, Marcus Hale addressed a quiet gathering of young cadets. His voice carried the weight of someone who had been mocked but not broken. "The Council believes we are bluffing," he told them. "They believe our words are empty, but you will prove them wrong. Each of you will fly ships they have never seen. Each of you will fight in ways they cannot imagine. The galaxy laughs now, but when you take to the stars, their laughter will end." The cadets stood straighter, fire in their eyes. For them, the blockade was not weakness. It was fuel. Weeks passed. The blockade tightened. Council patrol ships watched human trade routes, seizing shipments that broke the rules. Colonies suffered more. Children went hungry on distant stations. Factories slowed even further. Finally, in one colony, tragedy struck. A medical station on Europa ran out of vital compounds. Lives were lost. News reached Earth and the people erupted. Crowds filled the streets demanding action. Marcus Hale stood before the leaders. "The people are calling for justice. How much longer will we wait?" Admiral Darnell looked at her commanders. The room was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke. "The time has come." Preparations shifted into high gear. Hidden fleets left their docks, moving into silent positions near Council-controlled space. Communication lines lit up with coded messages, spreading across Earth, Mars, and the colonies. Every pilot was ready. Every ship was armed. Every weapon was primed. The galaxy still laughed. The Council still mocked. But humanity was finished with silence. In the next Council session, Marcus Hale rose again. His face was calm, but his voice carried steel. "You thought we were bluffing," he said to the chamber. "You thought we were weak. You blockaded us, starved us, mocked us. You called us children. But children grow, and we have grown stronger than you can imagine." The ambassadors hissed, laughed, and waved their hands in dismissal. To them, his words were noise once more. But this time Marcus did not return to his seat with patience. He smiled instead. Because outside, beyond the shining walls of the Council Station, humanity's fleets were already moving. The breaking point had arrived. The void of space outside Council territory was silent and vast, yet it held a tension unlike any the galaxy had felt before. Hidden among asteroids, cloaked in shadows, the human fleets waited. Hundreds of ships, sleek and deadly, gleamed under distant starlight. Each vessel was armed, trained, and ready. Every pilot knew their role perfectly. Admiral Kira Darnell stood on the bridge of the flagship Endurance. Her eyes scanned the holographic map floating before her, showing Council fleets spread across the outer systems. "They think us weak," she whispered. "They think us harmless. They are about to learn the truth." General Ravi Singh leaned over her shoulder. "Our strategy is clear. We strike fast. We strike hard. No hesitation. Once the first battle begins, the Council will know fear." Dr. Elena Morozova, monitoring energy levels from the command station, nodded. "All systems are optimal. Weapons are ready. Cloaking fields are stable. The Council won't know what hit them." Marcus Hale joined them quietly, standing beside Darnell. His calm expression hid the fire inside. "It is time," he said simply. "All our warnings, all their mockery, It ends tonight. In the council chamber, none of the delegates suspected the storm approaching. They continued debates about trade, borders, and petty disputes. The Thalri ambassador chuckled at a human report she had read earlier. They claim to have prepared, she said, clicking her wings, but they are nothing, just small ships in a galaxy of giants. The Koro Dominion representative sneered. Perhaps they will finally understand their place. Even if they strike, they cannot break us. Our fleets are unmatched. No one noticed the subtle blips appearing on their screens. Signals from hidden sensors far beyond the council station flickered silently. They ignored the faint traces of human ships moving in formation near key trade routes. The galaxy had laughed at humans for centuries, and it continued to laugh now. The first strike began with no warning. Human destroyers emerged from the shadow of an asteroid belt, their engines silent until the last moment. They hit the perimeter patrols of the council with energy lances that tore through shields effortlessly. Within minutes, small fleets that had been confident and mocking were disabled. Alien crews scrambled, firing back. But it was already too late. Target locked, called one pilot. Shields down, enemy disabled. Move to the next sector, commanded Admiral Darnell. Keep formation. Precision first, speed second. Destroy only what is necessary to send the message. The council's delegates stared at the reports on their screens in disbelief. Ships were vanishing in moments. Systems that had been thought safe were being attacked. Panic spread. The Thalari ambassador's mandibles clicked rapidly. Impossible, she hissed. They should not have such weapons. The Koro Dominion delegate's golden scales flickered with anger. This is no fleet, it is a storm. But how? Human fighters moved like shadows, striking at supply lines, communications, satellites, and patrol ships. Every maneuver was calculated, every attack precise. No council ship could predict their path. The council's fleets were confused, unable to respond to the speed and coordination of human forces. Adjust course, Darnell commanded. Flank their main station, keep pressure on their command centers. Within hours, entire council sectors were under temporary human control. Alien ships retreated, their confidence shattered. The galaxy had mocked humanity for centuries, but now they saw skill, power, and strategy unlike any they had imagined. Inside the council chamber, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted, argued, and tried to organize defense. The screens showed ships falling one after another, fleets disabled, and planets threatened. They lied to us, the Valen delegate pulsed in shock. The humans, they were not bluffing. They were hidden, the Koro ambassador said through clenched teeth. All this time, we never suspected. Marcus Hale stood calmly, watching the panic on their hollow screens. He could see the faces of delegates in shock, and it gave him a strange satisfaction. Not for revenge, but for the truth finally being recognized. Humanity was no longer a shadow. Humanity was a force. On distant colonies, citizens watched transmissions of human victories. For the first time, people cheered not for victories of others, but for their own species. The stories of humans being laughed at were now replaced with tales of strategy, courage, and skill. Young cadets who had trained in silence felt pride swelling in their hearts. "This is what we have been preparing for," said a young pilot as she guided her fighter through the council blockade. "This is what they said we could not do, and now look at them." "Keep focused," another replied. "Victory is not just for show, it must be complete." The second phase of the operation struck at the heart of the council's administration. Human fleets targeted communication hubs, transport ships, and energy relays. Every strike was precise, designed to minimize unnecessary destruction but maximize disruption. The council had thought peace was stable. They had thought their power was unshakable. But humans had studied, waited, and learned. Every mockery, every insult, every blockade had sharpened their resolve. Now they were showing the galaxy that humanity could not only survive, but dominate when necessary. In the skies above the council station, the flagship Endurance led a strike group. Darnell's voice was calm but firm over the comms. "Deploy the lances. Target the outer shields. Timing is everything. Do not fire until I give the order." The lances fired in unison. The Council's main shields flickered, then collapsed. Warships inside scrambled, but the human fleet moved faster than they could respond. Within minutes, the station's outer defense grid was disabled. Alien commanders were stunned, unable to comprehend how this small species had achieved such speed and coordination. Back inside the Council, panic was absolute. The delegates argued over whether to surrender, retreat, or negotiate. Their words clashed with the reality outside. Human fleets were everywhere, striking decisively, and retreat was no longer simple. The Thalri ambassador shrieked in frustration. "They cannot be this advanced. They are humans." Marcus Hale interrupted quietly, his voice calm. "They are not your shadows. They never were. And now you will respect them." The room fell silent, not in fear of his words, but in realization. They had underestimated the very species they had laughed at for centuries. Every insult, every blockade, every dismissal had been a mistake. Hours passed, and the human fleet consolidated its position. Systems once thought secure by the Council were now under temporary human control. Alien fleets regrouped in confusion, but humanity had already achieved their objective. The galaxy had finally seen their strength. Admiral Darnell addressed her commanders. "This is only the beginning. We will not destroy unnecessarily, but we will ensure the Council understands. Humanity is no longer to be ignored. Every strike, every maneuver, every victory tells the same story. Respect us or face consequences." General Singh nodded. "We have shown them our power. Now they will listen." In distant sectors, alien observers who had laughed at humans now whispered stories of the species they had underestimated. Traders, scientists, and explorers all shared the same word: fear. The humans had been considered weak, but their hidden strength had shattered that illusion. Even the youngest pilots on Earth felt a surge of pride. They had been trained to endure, to hide, to prepare. Now their patience and skill were proving the impossible. Humanity was no longer laughed at. They were respected, feared, and admired in ways they had never imagined. By the end of the day, the Council convened a crisis meeting. Their fleets were crippled, their defenses breached, and their authority questioned. For the first time in galactic history, delegates from the oldest species realized that one of the youngest species could challenge them, not with arrogance, but with intelligence, skill, and preparation. Marcus Hale stood in front of the Council, unafraid. "You thought we were bluffing," he said. "You thought we were shadows. We are not. Humanity is here, and we will no longer be ignored." Delegates were silent. The galaxy had changed, and the story of humans once laughed at had begun its rise to legend. The aftermath of the battle was quiet yet electric with tension. Council space, once thought untouchable, had been pierced by human fleets. Systems that had been taken for granted now stood vulnerable, and alien commanders scrambled to rebuild their shattered confidence. The galaxy had witnessed something it had never seen before. A young species, underestimated and ignored, had struck with unmatched precision and power. On the bridge of the flagship Endurance, Admiral Kira Darnell watched the reports flowing in. Ships that had been disabled were now retreating. Planets were stabilizing, and human patrols maintained careful oversight. "We have done what we came to do," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Now it is time to shape the new order. Humanity will not fight to destroy but to ensure respect. The galaxy must understand our place." Marcus Hale stood beside her, observing the holographic map of the galaxy. The once laughing Council members were now scrambling for negotiations. He felt a rare satisfaction, not in victory, but in truth finally being recognized. "Do we risk letting them recover?" he asked. Darnell shook her head. "We are not here to dominate for the sake of power. We are here to make them remember that humanity cannot be ignored. Our strength is a warning, not a threat. They will learn respect or they will face consequences." In the Council chamber, the atmosphere was tense and subdued. Delegates sat in silence, their usual arrogance gone. The Thalri ambassador, whose mandibles had once clicked with laughter at human speeches, now whispered softly. They were never bluffing. How did they prepare so quickly? The Coro Dominion representative's golden scales flickered nervously. We dismissed them. We mocked them. And yet they moved like a single force, faster than any fleet we have ever commanded. The Valen delegates' glow pulsed in a hesitant rhythm. It is frightening. They have shown not just power but strategy. They think like us, but faster, smarter, more adaptable. For the first time in galactic history, the Council delegates realized the truth. Humanity was not just a newcomer. Humanity was a rising force, one that could not be ignored or dismissed. On Earth, people celebrated quietly, knowing the battle had been fought with care. Citizens gathered in public squares, not for spectacle, but to honor their leaders and fleets. Children who had once only read stories of human perseverance now witnessed their species shaping galactic history. Marcus Hale addressed the crowd, speaking calmly, yet with authority. We have shown the galaxy our strength, but this is only the beginning. Our goal is not conquest, but equality. We will participate in the Council, not as shadows, but as equals. Never again will humanity be dismissed or underestimated. The people cheered. They had endured mockery, blockade, and doubt, yet their patience, preparation, and courage had brought them to this moment. Admiral Darnell convened a meeting with human commanders across all fleets. The glowing map displayed Council territories and newly stabilized sectors. Our actions have sent a message, she said. Humanity is no longer a species to be ignored. The Council will come to negotiations. We will not demand submission, but fairness. We will ensure that humans have equal standing in this galaxy. General Ravi Singh, standing tall among the commanders, added, We have done more than strike fear. We have proven that patience, planning, and courage can overcome centuries of doubt. The galaxy now knows that humanity is to be respected. Dr. Elena Morozova monitored energy readings from her station. Our fleets are ready for any response, she said. But for now, they will listen, and that is what matters. Back in the Council chamber, the delegates began to realize that negotiations were inevitable. The alien fleets that had once ruled without challenge were no longer invincible. Every report of disabled ships, lost satellites, and disrupted supply lines reminded them that humans had prepared with foresight and intelligence. The Thalri ambassador leaned forward, her wings trembling slightly. We cannot ignore them, she said. They are no longer children. They are equals, perhaps even greater than we imagined. The Coro Dominion representative's voice was steady but wary. We must meet them, we must listen, and we must respect them. If we fail to do so, we will invite disaster. The Council, once so confident in its dominance, had learned a vital lesson. Never underestimate a species that had endured, adapted, and prepared. Negotiations were scheduled, and humanity entered the Council chamber not as observers, but as equals. Marcus Hale, Admiral Darnell, and their delegation walked into the room with calm authority. Delegates from all species watched, some with fear, some with admiration. Marcus spoke first. The galaxy believed us weak. They mocked us. They blockaded our colonies. They laughed at our warnings. Today, you have seen what patience, preparation, and determination can achieve. Humanity will not be ignored. Humanity will not be dismissed. We come to this council seeking fairness, equality, and mutual respect. Silence followed. No one laughed. No one interrupted. For the first time, the delegates realized that the humans before them had proven every word with action. Outside the chamber, fleets maintained watch over critical sectors. Humans had no desire for conquest, but their presence reminded the galaxy that they could no longer be treated as irrelevant. Trade routes were reopened, energy shipments resumed, and colonies began receiving the supplies they had been denied. Admiral Darnell addressed the commanders over comms. Remember, we do not seek to dominate. We seek respect. Our strength is a promise, not a threat. Keep your positions, stay ready, but act with restraint. Humanity leads not by fear, but by example. The fleets responded with quiet determination. They had been underestimated for too long. Now, they were the standard others would measure against. On distant colonies, humans celebrated cautiously. They had survived the blockade, endured mockery, and witnessed the galaxy's fear. Children who had learned patience now understood the power of preparation. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers alike knew that their efforts had reshaped history. Marcus Hale addressed a group of young cadets. "You have seen the results of strategy, discipline, and courage. You are the next generation of humanity's strength. Remember this day. Remember that patience and preparation are as powerful as any weapon. And remember, humanity is never to be underestimated again." The cadets stood taller than ever. They had grown up hearing tales of human perseverance, but now they lived in the era when humanity had proven itself across the stars. Back in the council, delegates realized that the galaxy had changed permanently. The species that had laughed at humans now faced a new reality. Humanity had proven that strength was not only measured by size, numbers, or age, but also by endurance, intelligence, and courage. The Valen delegate, glowing softly, spoke at last. "We have learned a lesson. The humans we dismissed are no longer our shadows. They are a force to be reckoned with, and we must act with care and respect in all future dealings." The Coro Dominion representative nodded. "We misjudged them. That will not happen again." Even the Thalri ambassador, whose laughter had once echoed in the chamber, bowed slightly. Humanity has earned its place among the equals of this galaxy. In the quiet corridors of Earth's secret bases, Admiral Darnell and Marcus Hale reflected on what had been accomplished. Humanity had not only defended itself, it had reshaped the galaxy's understanding of power and respect. "The galaxy has seen us," Darnell said. "They know we are not bluffing. They know we are prepared, and they know we are patient, determined, and united." Marcus nodded. "And they will remember. Never again will humans be treated as shadows. Never again will our words be dismissed. Today we are no longer observers. Today, humanity leads by example." Outside, the stars burned bright, a silent witness to the rise of a species once underestimated, now feared and respected. Humanity had walked the path of patience, endured mockery, survived blockade, and now stood as equals in a galaxy that had once ignored them. And from this day forward, the story of humans would be told not as weaklings or dreamers, but as a species that had endured, prepared, and ultimately reshaped the galaxy forever.